Fucking episode 16, part 3.
Are we recording now?
Yeah, we are fully
Oh, God.
established. The Clout cousins are the only remaining
The
people.
last survivors.
The last survivors of this fuckery that was episode 16, which went in so many directions, and I think it was one of our best. One of our
That
best.
I was almost scared because, like, the first, like, half of that podcast was just nonstop interrupting each other.
people.
It was unbelievable. And then I think what saved it was the fat debate. Was that whole debate, and then at that point everyone sort of got serious, and it actually became like a sanctioned debate.
Yeah, we need to all be heard here. You know?
No, that was crazy. But no, I mean it all turned out good, and I mean, shit's fun as fuck. Just talking shit and just having a word to say with your boys and fucking getting to it, and that's what people like to listen to.
And ultimately, like, I feel like too much of that is not people don't encounter this type of conversation in their regular day-to-day life on a regular basis, and that's what that's the fucking problem with the state of the country at this point.
Exactly.
That's the problem with the state of everything, is that these conversations aren't being had. We had multiple disagreements on the podcast. We had multiple different point of views, but we found so much ground to stand on that we all could agree on, that it was like, okay, so all the little things that we might disagree on don't really matter, because the vast majority of the concept that we were talking about, we all agree on.
Right. In reality, every debate stems from a common ground. So it all really relates to how many branches off of that common ground you go to. And once you can find that common ground, you can really start to agree on the things that sort of stem off of it. And what you find is that you're not often as far off as you think you are. It really comes down to a few select things that, like, in the grand scheme of things, are minuscule in the actual point that you're trying to argue. And that was something that I think we found when we had that whole debate, was we sort of got caught up in what we thought we were trying to argue rather than what we were actually trying to argue. And I really don't even believe it was that much of an argument. I really think it was a lot of just misunderstanding and debate. And in that case, it almost doesn't even deserve that much of a preface, because it really wasn't like some insane
No, it wasn't serious at all. No.
Anything. And it was just passionate dudes talking about things that they agree on. And I think that in reality is what a lot of people don't understand, is you can people seem to take these things that they disagree on, and it's almost like every hill is a hill to die on, rather than understanding that you can agree on something completely different than something else that someone else is trying to portray, and you can scream in that person's face, and you can yell at them, and you can just hate that person in that moment, but you understand that we're civilized people, and that we come from a long line of people that killed for things like that, and now we're at a point in evolution where we can talk about it, and it doesn't have to be some sort of mortal combat that we have to come to. It can be something where you can sit there with your words and with your ideologies and your intellectualism and intelligence, and really come to a point where you can trade ideas, you can trade points of views and perspectives, and you can come to understanding what it really means to have an opinion. And what you really find out when doing that is that a lot of people don't really have opinions. Not to say that anyone on this podcast didn't have a strong opinion, but when you go out in public and you debate with people, you can find that a lot of people don't even know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people just argue these points because they hear them on Twitter, or they hear them on Reddit or Instagram. And then you ask them.
It's not something they thought about for more than 10 minutes.
Right. It's something that they were told to think. And so when people post those, oh, go out and vote videos, not to get political, but they go out and post these videos, and then people just go and vote for the last thing they fucking heard on Twitter without ever stopping to think, what am I voting for? Who is this guy? What is his policies? What does he believe in? Blah, 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 this and that and the other thing. And they never stop to think, what do I believe? Or am I just voting to fit in? Is this a fashion statement? Or do I actually believe in something?
Dude, not to cut you off, but I was looking at some pictures the other day, and I was scrolling through Facebook, and I thought I recognized this girl, so I clicked on her pictures. And, like, what you typically do on Facebook is you click on their picture, and then you slide over a couple years to see, like, oh, is this somebody I recognize? Like, is this somebody I knew from back in the day, or blah, blah, blah? Well, like, I'm 3 pictures in, and I see just this glamour picture of this girl doing this, like, duck face or whatever, you know, Facebook-style picture with the hashtag over the picture, Black Lives Matter. And I'm like, 2-3 years later, that shit looks so fucking corny. Like, you're literally just adopting whatever fad rolls into the, like, everybody that throws the Ukraine shit in their fucking bio.
Right.
You know, it's just like you're jumping on whatever. You haven't taken 10 minutes to research, because if you had, you would realize that Ukraine was on the top 10 fucking countries that we should watch out.
The most corrupt countries
that we
in the
should
world.
watch out for as U.S. and most corrupt countries in the world. And we're meant to sit here and send them $300 billion. Meanwhile, our schools don't even have fucking air conditioning systems. It's right there.
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at Baltimore City, and Baltimore City is a grand example of
60% of the kids in Baltimore City graduate and cannot fucking read, dude.
And another fun statistic to say to people that understand that statistic is that Baltimore City schools are the top 5. In the top 5 funded school districts, not in the state, not in the county, in the
nation,
country,
bro, in the country.
Baltimore City is in the top 5. I believe it's top 3 funded school districts in the country, and they don't even have air conditioning.
We thought about doing a pod all about Baltimore City schools, dude.
Well, you'd have to do a fucking series because it's
that's
long,
what I was thinking,
well-drawn.
and that's what has kept me from doing it, Dom. Is the more research I do, the more I realize we're never going to be able to scratch the fucking surface of the corruption that's going on in Baltimore City schools. The amount of people
Not
on
even
top
the
that are
school.
just getting paid so much money, and these kids literally cannot fucking read. I've talked to teachers that are teachers of 4th graders that say 20% of their students can read at a 2nd grade level. That's the highest reading level they have
Dude.
in a 4th grade class. 20%. The other percentage cannot fucking read at all.
People are graduating high school at a 5th grade reading level at 60%. It is at a point where it's literally, if you were to make it up in a sitcom, you wouldn't believe it. You would have too much of a suspense of disbelief to even try to maintain watching the sitcom. It is to a point where Baltimore schools, as we just stated, are one of the most funded, the most funded school district in the country. They get paid, the teachers get paid more than any county in the state of Maryland. Yet these students are graduating at a rate where they are not even literate. And I don't mean literate as a child. I mean literate as a human being. They can't read. They literally cannot read
Imagine
or
how
write.
frustrating it is to have to walk around the world and not be able to read. Imagine how frustrating that it must be as an
And
adult.
then imagine trying to get a job. I mean, no fucking wonder Baltimore's such a shithole, because how the fuck are you supposed to get a job? How the fuck are you supposed to be an outstanding member of society and start a business or get a job or do anything to contribute to society? Why wouldn't you lean to dealing drugs or robbing people or becoming a part of a crime
or
syndicate?
being a squeegee boy.
Or being a squeegee boy. Why wouldn't you? Because the system has failed them. And as much as I also like to stand on the fact that the individual person should be responsible for their own actions, I also do want to acknowledge that the fact that the system in Baltimore City has absolutely failed
The people of
the
Baltimore
people
City.
of Baltimore City. And it's because the same people keep getting voted in time after time after time, because people want to sit there and admit to themselves that voting the other party would be a downfall. Meanwhile, we've seen 40, 30 years of consistent downfall in the system, and no one is saying anything about that. It's just completely accepted that your child will graduate high school and not be able to read a fucking book. It's disgusting.
Let me play the devil's advocate here, because if Republicans were voted into the city of Baltimore, right, would there be an immediate change? Obviously, would not be an immediate change, because it would take quite a few years to undo the things that have been done thus far to the Baltimore people. But would that system, would the Republican system even fucking fix it, or would they fall into the same money grubbing system that the Democrats have?
It's a good question, but I in a way, I almost think, even if you were to ask that question, it's gotten to the point where almost
like, let's try it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's gotten
I
to the
feel
point
you.
where
I'm with you. I'm like, might as well fucking. This ain't working.
I mean, even if it don't work, it ain't working on the fucking other side. So fuck it. We might as well try anything. It's like doing an onside kick.
No,
you know what I fucking mean? Like, hey, we ain't gonna fucking get the fucking lead back by.
I feel like that's what got a lot of Trump voters out there, is feeling like, well, these fucking career politicians aren't working, so fuck it. Let's see what this guy can do. And if anything, he shook it up for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I believe the main part in why he was such a successful politician is because he wasn't a politician. Is because all politics is based off of is keeping politicians rich and keeping politicians in a point where they can have deals with their buddies that are fucking running fucking country clubs and fucking pharmaceutical reps and all this kind of bullshit, where they can fucking funnel money into where it's in their own interest, rather than somebody who's got his own money and he can't be bribed, and he says, you know what, I don't need your money. I'm worried about America. I'm worried about the country. And you can have your little fucking Mount Pleasant golf course, and you can't fucking bribe me money to make sure that blah, blah, blah happens, or this and that happens. And then you got the Baltimore City fucking, what is it, the prosecutor that what is it, 70% of Baltimore murder goes unsolved?
That's incredible.
It's not only
That's
incredible. It is unbelievable. It literally is unbelievable. Why are we
70%? That's 7 out of 10 people.
7 out of 10 murders in Baltimore City go unsolved.
For you illiterate fucks. That's 7 out of 10.
Every 10 murders, which there's 360 a year.
70% go unsolved. Are you fucking
That's about
kidding me?
250 murders in Baltimore City get committed, and they never find the murderer. I mean, can you imagine that in any other place in the country? Can you imagine if Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or if Cleveland, Ohio, or if Flint, Michigan, anywhere in the country, fucking Akron had fucking 70% of their murders go unsolved? 70% of the people going out there killing people never get caught, and that's just an acceptable stat? That it's unbelievable. It's disgusting. It's disgusting that the city has gotten to that point, and there's people that will still sit there and vote for the same people that will go out of their way to not prosecute people because they don't want to seem like they're on the wrong side of history. They don't want to be the ones putting people in jail. Well, maybe it's time you put some fucking people in jail, because if there's anywhere that you're going to put people in jail, it's Baltimore fucking City.
Yeah.
Because it's falling apart. Baltimore City used to have
a shambles, dude.
Baltimore City used to have a population of 1.1 million citizens. It used to be the 8th most populated city in the country. What is it now? It's teetering towards under 600,000. It's lost almost 50% of its population. It's, I think, the 35th most populated city in the country, around there.
So it was basically a fucking booming metropolitan area with Hopkins and all of these great things that have come out of Baltimore, and it's gotten driven out by...
Well, little known fact, the reason why Baltimore County and Baltimore City are separate places, which is one of the only districts in America that are like that, where the city is separate from the county. The reason
Really?
why that is because Baltimore City, during the industrial boom, I believe it was in the 30s, went through this whole thing where they, back when they were a big industrial city, were going through an economic boom, and they realized that they were paying for the county. And they said, why the fuck are we making all this money in the city doing all this industrial shit, and you guys are kind of not paying your way? So they seceded from the county. So the county and the city are separate because of that. And then come, 60 years later, the county is the one that's got all the money because the fucking city's a shithole. In the city now, a large percentage of the tax base of the entire state of Maryland goes to Baltimore City. Baltimore City schools, the reason why they're one of the most funded in the country is because a large percentage of the state government goes to the city, and they are still completely fucked because the city government is so corrupt. I remember getting into an argument with somebody on the internet, as I usually love to do. We are the second most corrupt city in the country based off of racketeering charges and corruption charges and things like that. Over the last 10 years, we have 352, I believe, charges of corruption, whether it's a cop or it's a political official or blah, blah, blah. I mean, what is it? 2 out of 3 of our last mayors have had some sort of scandal. It's unreal.
My lawyer actually represented the mayor in her book scandal.
Wow.
Yeah. Had to go big. Had to go deep. Deep pockets.
Oh, man.
I mean, everything's corrupt, bro. It's so corrupt on so many different levels. I mean, look at this. Like, a few years ago, like a year ago, year and a half ago, they're raiding people's houses for a couple marijuana plants, but now they're legalizing marijuana on a recreational level.
That is just
like, are we kidding? Are we joking now?
It's just like in COVID when they weren't going down on the people doing illegal shit. They're going down on business owners that are actually trying to conduct their business, and they infract a couple of laws, and then they crack down on them. It's like you are trying to literally like empty out your tax base. Like you're going.
But you're cool with the guy on the corner with the fucking cooler selling beers.
Exactly. There's a guy on the corner not carding anybody, selling White Claws out of a corner, but you see a guy in a bar by himself mopping up the bar, and you're gonna fucking send him a ticket because he's not wearing a mask by himself in the bar?
Yeah, I mean, it got to a point of insanity. Literally,
that was a real thing that happened. My brother, the horse that he plays at all the time, a bartender was mopping up after the shift alone, completely alone in the building
with no mask.
A cop came into the bar because he was alone in the building with no mask, mopping up the floor, and charged him. I think it was like a $500 ticket. Meanwhile, there's motherfuckers on the side of the street selling White Claws, taking advantage of the no longer open container law because it's COVID. And he's selling shit. A fucking 12-year-old could walk up to him, buy a mango White Claw. Nothing. Dudes on the fucking dock blaring their speakers, having a fucking block party, collecting tips for fucking DJing and shit. Unsanctioned, everything. And mind you, I don't mind that. I think that should be allowed to do that. But if you're going to allow that,
you got to allow their actual
you
fucking
cannot
businesses
go up
to
businesses and then cracking down on businesses for having a dress code, cracking down on businesses for enforcing no check split or 18% gratuity on an 8-top. It's crazy, man. That's crazy, man. Anyway, to fucking get off this, how's your betting been going?
Horrible. I'm down like 400.
So
that's not that bad.
What are you at total? Like 1,600 right now?
Yeah, I didn't
get that later.
Yeah, I actually haven't bet in like the last 2 weeks. I didn't at all bet in the last.
It's
2
hilarious.
weeks.
I was listening to the podcast today, and I remember bringing up Bet Online because Stream East had
Yeah.
promoted it.
And I hadn't been on it yet.
And then I randomly how did you get into that again? I forgot how we like.
You were at the bar, and then you told me about it, and I was like, all right, and I checked it out, and they were like, we'll match whatever you put in on crypto, and I had some crypto tanking, so I was like, fuck it. This crypto's went from $3,000 to $1,000, so I might as well jump it back up to $2,000 and play with it, you know.
The thing I was warning you about is they fucking get you on those fucking things because
Well, they only let me use they only let me use that kind of money on certain bets.
yeah, it depends on the odds of the bet.
Yeah. But I have hit some bets though. I have hit some really good bets.
Have you done any poker on it yet?
No, I really need to.
Dude, I had a solid win a couple weeks ago. It was actually the weekend my pool died. I've never played live poker in my life, and I know because you're probably the only person in the family that like I can relate to on poker.
Yeah.
Because you're like into it. You gave me that Daniel Negreanu book, which I fucking read through like
It's
twice.
good as fuck, right?
So good.
It really is.
So
It
many
follows
good tips,
every
man.
level of like.
It really does. It really.
It's so thorough.
It's like perfectly intact too, because the first chapter is like really good at like low level tournaments, and then it gets into cash games and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, it's such a good book, and I like how he picked a different, like, poker pro to write each chapter.
Exactly.
It
He
was
didn't just
great.
rely on his own shit. He was like, okay, blah 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 is good at tournament poker. What is it? Brunson's son is good at cash poker. Blah blah blah. Anyway, so I played a bunch. Like, I mean, generally, like my max buy-in generally is like $15. Like I usually do like $5, $10, $15 tournaments, but I had randomly won a bunch of money in the fucking online casino just fucking around when I was drunk, which I need to stop doing. So I was just like, there was like this Halloween event going on where they were doing these like special Halloween poker tournaments where they were like upping the prize pool. I was like, all right, fuck it. I entered a $55 tournament. Just fucking around. It was a bounty tournament. Then I wound up getting 4th place, and I wound up winning $560 on a $55 entry.
Nice.
I was like, hell yeah. That was like the most I've ever entered into a tournament before. And I'm about to go on a cruise with my girl for her birthday, and I know they're gonna have a big poker tournament where first place wins a free cruise, and then a free entry to $100,000 guaranteed tournament. And I was like, babe, if you think I'm not dubbing
Entering that tournament.
if you think I'm not dubbing that tournament, like I'm dead ass gonna have to be away from you for like 2 days on that cruise.
2 days. Yeah.
Like
Hold on. When's this cruise, and is there still tickets?
Oh, dog, you want to come? With
because
Bree?
listen, yeah, because Bree has been begging me to go on a cruise recently, so
Dude,
we can make this happen.
Nick, I would love nothing more than if you came on that cruise with us. That would be
when is
fucking.
please send me the info, because we can make this happen.
It's in January.
We could totally make this happen.
Dude, that would be fucking insane.
That'd be
fucking
that'd be tits.
insane.
That'd be tits. Like, these girls are fucking blowing my mind right now. I can't fucking deal with it. Let's go to the bar and get fucking
Dude,
drunk.
and how awesome would it be if they became best friends?
Best friends. Greatest friends ever. We just didn't have to deal with them.
Oh my god. I'm fucking literally getting an erection thinking about that. Dude.
No, dude, please send me the info. We could totally make this happen. How much is the cruise? What's the cruise? Tell me. Hey, sell me. Sell me, dog.
All right.
Sell me, dog.
So hold on. So it's an 8-day cruise leaving out of Baltimore.
I love it. Already.
8-day cruise.
I don't have to fly anywhere. I just go right out of Baltimore.
8-day cruise right out of Baltimore. It goes all the way down to the Bahamas. I believe we spent $700 or $800.
Dude, I'll buy it tomorrow.
All-day drink package. You gotta obviously spend extra. I think it's another $500 for.
I'm with it.
Unlimited top shelf drinks.
I'm with it. Let's do it.
The whole trip. And then you can get like a fuck.
That's how they get you on the drink packages, though.
Oh yeah, but I think.
But they're worth it.
You're talking about
anybody that's a seasoned cruise person.
Casino on the
They
ship.
tell me buy the drink package. Any fucking
absolutely.
person
Otherwise,
that
because
does the cruises.
drinks are like $20 a piece. Otherwise,
Yeah, you're fucked.
So, dude, honestly, dude, if we went on this cruise together, it'd be the fucking sickest thing.
Dude, Is there tickets left?
There has to be. There's no fucking way there's not.
All right, I'm with it.
Where's my phone?
Let's fucking
Is
do
my
this.
phone over there?
No, we're doing the screws. Oh, shit.
Crack screen.
It is an iPhone.
Dude, this is a fucking iPhone. I need a fucking new phone anyway. If that's cracked, this would be a sign from God. I need to get a fucking new phone. No, but they not only do they have the tournaments, they have a whole casino. So they'll have cash games, blackjack, baccarat, roulette. Oh my god, the hiccups is retarded.
Clout Cousins, episode 1.
So yeah, they got all that shit. So I was like thinking about bringing like 600 just for the casino.
Just to fucking bet.
But like, dude, I'm easily going to that tournament. And if I want a free cruise, she's gonna be mad at me for being away from her. But the second,
But if she has Bree though, and we're both running the tourney,
that's what I'm fucking saying.
That's money.
Is if Bree's there, and they're having a fucking girls' day at the spa.
Which Bree introduced herself to you guys when you guys were at the bar last time, and she hadn't met you, and I was very proud of her because she's like very socially awkward and like not.
So is Kayla.
Yeah, Bree's like not.
Kayla's
about that
a shy
shit.
girl, man.
Yeah, she's super shy. Bree's like, and then until you get her drunk, and then she's like,
Right.
It's the whole vibe.
Kayla's a very shy girl, and I'm a very outgoing person. So
I think me being extroverted and her being introverted kind of vibes. I think probably you guys got the same shit going.
Yeah, it almost vibes. It almost doesn't vibe because he's almost like, you're too extroverted. I'm like, all right.
Like you'll start talking to people at the bar, and she's like, I'm not ready for this.
If we wanna,
that happens to me.
I mean, I can almost see Kayla being like, I thought this was gonna be our thing, blah blah blah. But I could also see like, hey, like Nick's gonna come on the cruise. We're gonna have a couple of nights to ourselves. We're gonna go to dinner by ourselves, blah blah blah. But also like, Nick and I are gonna go play some poker tournaments. You and Bree can fucking hang out, go to a spa, go to fucking get drinks at the pool bar or some
Do
shit.
your thing, like
Hang out, have a girls' day. Boom, boom, boom. Like I feel like I'm gonna talk to her this weekend.
Vibe it out.
I'm gonna vibe it out. I'm gonna say like, what would you think if Nick brought his girl? And blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna see what she says. Cause
And sell it like this. Sell it like Nick's girl wants a vacation with just them two.
yeah, that's
You know
a
what I
great
mean?
point. Like
Nick's girl doesn't want to go on a couple's vacation either. So it's gonna be like them doing their thing. We might wave in the hallway. You know what I mean? But we're not gonna have to. It's not gonna be like, oh, what's Dom doing tonight? Type
Right.
vibe. You know what I mean? Because it's 8
go
days.
to a couple dinners.
8 days. Well,
Go to a couple dinners.
Because
Hit the bar a couple times.
Hey.
Nick and I hit the casino.
That's how you gotta start it. You gotta start it with like the first couple days. We're just doing our own thing, and then we
and then
integrate
next
it.
fucking thing. Next
fucking
thing.
integrate.
Next thing. We're all there. They're thinking, don't you guys got a casino to go to?
Yeah.
Don't you guys gotta get the fuck
Don't you
out?
guys gotta get a massage?
Don't you guys? Hey guys, we got a poker tournament. We're playing 1-2.
I heard
Can you guys
I
fucking
heard
come?
Tommy's giving really good massages down where
I heard Ling Ling's giving some fucking banger foot
with
rub.
fucking hot
spot.
rocks down there
And
when the fucking North
I
Deck.
just happened to hear that there's a $40 PKO tournament at the fucking cruise ship casino. Me and Nick are trying to hit that. We're running 3 bullets minimum. Can you give me that? Yeah, babe. Me and Bree are gonna be at the fucking poolside bar, talking to French dudes, but not banging them.
We'll fluff with them, bang with you. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
I'm not with the fluff and don't fluff. If my girl fluffs with a fucking French dude, I'm swinging on a French dude. I will knock a French dude into the fucking ocean.
All right, we're banging on French dudes, but if you're Italian, we'll give you some leeway.
Dude, I had a nightmare the other night. I had a nightmare that I was scrolling through Pornhub and I found a video of my girl on the casting couch.
No.
I had a nightmare.
No.
And I found my girl on the casting couch and I brought it up to her. This is all in my dream. And I said, like, what the fuck? What is this? And she was like, well, I was in college and like needed the money, and they were paying like $850, and I did it. And I just remember like literally crying at her feet in my dream. And I woke up and I was next to her, and I couldn't even look at her.
That's like when they have dreams that we cheat on them.
Right.
Which happens like, what, once a week?
Yeah, no, my God.
God damn. What's
woke
like,
up-
come the fuck on. Why is it every week I've cheated on you in your dream?
I woke up next to her, and I was
Disgusted.
physically disgusted. I woke up sick. And I literally still, like, even at this moment talking about it, I think about it. And I remember asking her, like, point blank when I
Are you
woke up.
sure?
I was like, have you ever filmed a pornographic film with a pornographer? Because, like, I'm under the impression, like, yeah, you might have had a boyfriend before. You might have filmed each other fucking, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm aware that might have happened. Okay.
But, like, are you on Pornhub?
I'm talking about, have you been on Bang Bus?
Are you on?
Has Johnny Sins fucked your throat? Like, give me
That's a deep cut. That's
give me the fucking deets. And she was like, oh, no, I've never done that, blah, 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 this, that. I was like, all right, okay. And I believe her, because having sex with her with just me is hard enough. I doubt a guy with some fucking wad of cash could come up to her and get her to fuck on camera. So I believe her.
It makes sense. It all ties in. It all fucking checks out.
No, but dude, I'm dead ass about this cruise. I'm in it. I'm in it. She's coming over tomorrow. I'm gonna ask her.
Ask
tomorrow.
her, figure it out, and then hit me up. I'll fucking hit me up with the link, and I'm not saying this because I'm drunk right now. I'll buy the fucking cruise, and I'll tell Bree after I buy it. I'll say, hey, we're going on a cruise, and she'll be fucking ecstatic. She'll
You can also tell Bree to follow me back on Instagram.
I will let her know because I know that's a source of contention.
Because that's on fucking real. No, I'm just kidding.
She probably she's yeah.
She probably didn't know.
Probably didn't know.
But I saw her on my people to follow, and she had like 7 mutual follows or whatever. And I was like, oh, she has an ex-girlfriend. All right, I'll follow her. And then like I got a notification popped up that was like, oh, Bree accepted your follow invite. I was like, oh, okay. And I always have
You're
to
just
check.
waiting.
I always have to
You're
check.
just waiting.
Did they follow me back? And I clicked, and I didn't see myself in the following list. And I was like,
Yeah. No, it's a rough one. It almost makes you want to unfollow immediately.
I was like,
It almost makes you wanna-
only reason I'm not unfollowing you
Because
right
Nick,
now
you're lucky.
is because I'm bringing this up on the podcast next time I'm on.
You're lucky. You're fucking lucky right now. No, I went on the Slippery cast and I went through a bunch of different people, and if they weren't following us, you're out of here.
Oh, dude, yeah. 100%.
You're out of here.
So, another thing we gotta jump on.
Let's jump on it.
I think I got you into gambling, didn't I?
Absolutely not. Maybe into sports betting. I'll give you that. You got me.
Okay,
into,
yeah,
you,
I know.
You
I know you're-
100% got me into sports betting, but bro, I was a degenerate gambler when
So,
you
yeah,
were
how
fucking
did
in
you
high
get in-
school, dog.
How did you get into poker? That's my question. Because I'll tell you how I got into.
Do
poker.
we want to get super deep?
Oh, I want to know everything
Damn,
because I'll tell
dude.
you everything. Because
Damn.
you
dude.
are the only person in our family that I can relate to on poker. The only person that I can.
Hey, poker's a dark fucking place.
Poker.
It can be.
Poker is like chess, where you try to describe people, the situations you're in. Like I was because my girlfriend goes. I described this on the last podcast. My girlfriend goes to sleep on the weekends, and I get drunk and I play poker online. And at 2 a.m., I fucking yelled at the top of my lungs because
You got sucked out on.
no, I actually won the pot. It was the thing the guy said to me that pissed me off.
Oh, in the chat, he didn't even say it verbally. He texted
He
it,
texted
which
it.
made it even worse. What'd he
I'm
say?
in this chat.
What'd he
Okay,
say?
So I'm in this tournament. I believe it was at the same tournament, the $55 tournament. And I believe, 20 big blinds. We're like 20 away from the money. And I have pocket sevens. And I 3-bet
You play on your phone or you play on the computer?
computer
Okay.
at this point. I 3-bet 3x. The dude next to me calls, and the dude on the cutoff jams, and I'm on the button. So I call. I'm like, fuck it. I got 20 big blinds. I got
Your
pocket,
pocket
sevens.
sevens. You're
I'm
like,
all in
yeah,
or fold right now.
yeah.
I call. Another dude calls. I'm up against ace queen, and I'm up against like king jack.
So you're sitting okay.
I'm ahead.
You're ahead right now. But
I'm
you
at-
know as well as I know is it's gonna get fucking
Exactly.
hairy.
So I'm ahead. Boom, boom, boom. Everything happens.
You listen. You do what you're supposed to do in that position.
So what happens is, the dude who has king jack was a super short stack. He winds up turning like rivering a straight.
What do they call the king jack?
I don't know. I just
Isn't
remember.
isn't that the fucking like the
I just
the
remember
novice hand
who
or
was
something?
that? Who was that? Tony G was like, he called with king jack. Don't give him any applause. Don't read his strategy book. King jack's a terrible hand, which it is.
It is.
And so
It's
he
just
calls
two
with king
face
jack.
cards.
He fucking rivers a straight, but he was a short stack, so he only wins like 30% of the pot. And
Okay.
I wind up winning the majority of the pot with the guy who fucking jammed on me. And I went, wow, because he rivered the straight. And then the dude who
The king jack river the straight.
yes,
So you didn't take 100%. You took 70%.
I took 70% of the pot.
Okay.
But I still wound up like breaking even because of the stack differentials. And then the dude who was jamming with ace queen was like, wow, you called with 7-7. And
What do you mean?
I freaked out. I was like, dude, I was ahead of you pre-flop. You jammed with ace queen off suit.
Off.
I'm
Ace
like,
queen off, and you're
even if
you're
it's-
acting like sevens is
even if it's on suit, I'm still a statistical advantage. Like, you jammed with ace queen and then laugh at me for calling with sevens with 20 big blinds. I was calling him a clown. I literally got banned from the chat because I was calling him a fucking bitch. I was cussing at him. I was drunk.
Yeah,
it was
obviously
fucking
Tito straight
It was It was 2 a.m. I'm swigging fucking boxed wine.
with fucking.
My girl's asleep, and I screamed. And my girl talks to me in the morning. She says, "Why did you yell at 2 a.m.?" And I'm like, literally trying to explain to her. I'm like, babe, listen to this. Okay, so this guy, the guy on the left has king jack, right? Guy in the fucking cutoff has ace queen. I have 7-7. Now, if you look at it statistically, she's not.
Yeah, she's
She's
fucking-
like,
she
what
literally.
the
You're speaking Chinese.
She's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, babe, I'm a 55% favorite, and this guy called me a clown for calling. And he jammed.
He
as a
doesn't know what
40
he's talking about, but he's trying to act like I don't know what I'm talking
and
about.
mind you, when I said he was a clown, he never said anything after that. He was a vocal guy in the chat the whole time. The second I said I called and I was ahead pre-flop, you're a fucking clown. He didn't say shit the whole rest of the fucking tournament. He busted out 16th place. Fuck that kid. I placed 4th. You fucking pussy. I know how to play poker, and you fucking called me a clown for calling with pocket sevens with 20 big blinds.
Shout out fucking Queen Ace 6484 login.
You fucking absolute pussy.
Pussy.
Yeah, dude. I feel like the time that I got into poker, and you just happened to be in it, and that's why I want to know, like, what was your whole
Let me get that later.
upbringing? I need it back too.
I'll show you I'll tell you my whole origin story of poker, and I went deep, bro. I went deep. Dead space as we light our cigars.
Quick light. As if anyone's listening to this poker podcast, this would be a good thing to post on poker.com.
This is gonna be a Clout Cousins episode 1.
Oh yeah, this is I would be so down to do a duo podcast.
Yeah, I'm down with that as well. Fuck it, let's do it, dude. Let's have Jimmy. I want to have Jimmy on the podcast soon, dude.
Dude, I would be honest. I told him I was on the podcast, and he was like, "Damn, Nick has invited me on."
No, legit. Like I thought about that today. I was like, we gotta have Jimmy on. I gotta have Jimmy on before Christmas, or it's gonna be awkward. Okay.
Yeah,
I love Jimmy, dude. I love Jimmy, and he's gonna be a great fucking podcast guest. Amazing podcast guest. I love Jimmy.
No,
to
you
death.
want to have a tinfoil podcast? You gotta have it with Jimmy. Jimmy, dude. Here's the thing about Jimmy. I live with him, and this is still pertaining to our betting shit. Jimmy would okay, so we have these things called Money Mondays. We've done it for like 3 or 4 years with our boy Lucas, who lived down the hall from us, who happened to be Jimmy's high school friend. And we came across this tradition where every Monday night football, we would bet on the game together, same bet, $50, and we would just get beers, get pizza, wings, whatever, and we would just have a whole night about it. Just fucking, like, if we win this bet, it pays for the food. If we lose this bet, we
We're
fucking owe
fucked.
double. And we had this whole thing, and for years, Jimmy was just betting through our boy, his bookie. And I found out about Bet Online, and I was like, Jim, why don't you just get on this fucking app? Like, you could fucking bet your own money. You don't have to worry about him putting in the bets for you. You can withdraw it, blah, 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 on your own accord. And he got into it. But the thing I didn't realize about Jimmy is he is, and I do believe, and I'm not talking shit about him, I do believe Jimmy is a part autistic.
Which but he's got the good autism.
He is.
He's got the good shit where he will literally break shit.
He has a social ineptity that only I and a few family members notice. He doesn't notice. He is very. It's not something that's crippling or that people notice. It's only something you notice when you know him. Is that he does get really anxious around people, and he does get like real animated for the first 5 minutes. But then he gets into it because he is a very personable person. He's a person that you can talk to, and when you talk to him, he is so intelligent and so intellectually sound that there is literally, I literally believe he could have a conversation with Elon Musk and he wouldn't feel off the plane.
100%, 1,000 fucking percent. Your brother has the verbal skills of, I would put him up against any top-notch fucking person. You know what I'm saying? Like conversational skills, I would put your brother up against any fucking person. Like I really would. I think Jimmy, his conversational skills, his ability to listen and then reply with a meaningful question / add on to whatever that person is saying is unfucking matched. I would put him up against any person. With just he could be a top-notch interviewer. He really could be. But go ahead.
He really is just like
He's a savant.
He's a savant to the nth degree. And I'll put it this way.
LFT podcast.
LFTS podcast.
LFTS
Live
podcast.
from the Studio
Live
podcast.
from the Studios podcast.
He, as soon as he got on this gambling website, he immediately started doing math equations and bullshit like this to try to figure out how to beat Vegas. He is doing all the. I mean, I'm not like. It's insane to try to describe it. He's a very intelligent person. He's using calculus equations that I've never even heard of to figure out the amount of money line bets he can make and still come out on top, given the 25% bonus that they give you, and including the rollovers and all that shit, and including a guaranteed profit. And he's like literally showing me the math, and he showed me the whole 3-door paradox. You know that paradox where they say like you're shown 3 doors and you pick a door, and then they show you the wrong door, and then they give you the option to switch, and they say that if you switch, you actually have a 66% chance of getting it right. Do you know why that is?
Why?
It's something I didn't understand until he explained it to me. So, if for the listeners that don't know what I'm talking about, if you've ever heard of that old math equation where there's 3 doors in front of you, and you have to pick the door that has the prize. Let's say you pick the middle door, and they say, okay, you've picked the middle door, and we're going to open the left door, and we're going to show you that that's wrong. Now you have the option to switch your door, or you have the option to stay on the middle door. Which one do you do? Mathematically, it is better for you to switch your door. And the reason that is because if you're to pick a 1 of 3 option, you have a 33% chance of getting that question right. Correct?
Okay, because 1 out of 3, yeah.
Now, if you pick a 33% option and they show you one wrong answer and you switch, mathematically, over the course of 100 courses of this exact situation, you have a 66% chance of it being the other door. And that is only because, back to the base root, that you have a 33% chance of getting it right. So if every time you were to pick the 33% chance door and you stayed, you would win 33% of the time. But if every time you switched and you picked a door out of 3 and they showed you one that was wrong and then gave you the option to switch,
You have that 66%.
that is now a 2 out of 3 chance because you switched because you were shown one that wasn't right. And I know it's an incredibly hard thing to conceptualize and get because it took me a full day of him explaining it to me to get. But what it really boils down to is you betting against your own choice. Because in reality, if you're given 100 1 out of 3 bets, you're going to get about 33% of them right.
Yeah, and also these people in Vegas aren't fucking stupid. There's a reason why they're
absolutely
so
not.
close to every spread they fucking put up. It's they this shit is years and years of mathematics boiled down to fucking what we have today.
I'll tell you what, when you have Jimmy on this podcast, he will spew about this shit. Because I'll tell you what, this motherfucker is going through math equations to figure this shit out. He has found like a new monster to open up.
So is he winning? Hold on. I want to pause right here because I got to get Bree wood. She just texted me. She's been out of wood for like a half an hour. So if the fire goes out, I'm in deep shit. But I'm going to go get wood. But we're going to come back to this, and I'm going to ask about Jimmy's winnings real quick. I'm going to pause for about 2 minutes. If you need a piss, do it now.
Yes, okay.
But anyway, yeah, so I've been training. I've been trying to, my goal is to get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 1 week. It's been my goal is to hit every fucking day. I haven't done it yet. This week I did Tuesday, Wednesday, and I did today, but I didn't do today at 5 a.m. I did today at 6:30. 5 a.m. is the open mat. 5 a.m. is when all the heavy hitters and the savages come. You know what I mean? And it might be only, Dom, it might be only 4 savages. It might be only 2 savages. But it's all the guys that have been rolling for like 10 plus years that are just trying to get good rolls in. What are you doing, my guy?
I don't know. I'm fucking lost right now. Oh no. Hold up. Oh wait. Oh no. I'll just hold up my hand. Oh yeah.
It's fine. We got it.
This is technical difficulties. This is what happens when you're too drunk after a great podcast, and then you're trying to fucking mount a fucking
Clout Cousins episode 1.
Clout Cousins episode 1. This is the pilot episode. This dude knows what he's doing. Hell yeah.
Here we go. All right, so basically, yeah, jujitsu it's been wild as fuck. But I feel like it would be a huge and even the guys that I roll with, like Olivia's boyfriend's really good. He rolls.
Dude,
on the,
Will is an outstanding grappler.
savage.
State champ, 2 times?
Yes.
Jesus.
So I rolling with him. I roll with him and guys at his caliber.
Is he
All the
smoking
time.
dudes? Or,
Oh my god, yes.
is
wrestling.
he like a top dog at the gym or what?
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure.
What belt is he?
He's only a blue, I think.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
What?
because his wrestling skills are so high and elevated. I think if I feel like if he went purple, nobody would bat an eye to, but I feel like I think he's blue. I could be completely fucking wrong right now. I think he's blue. But if he got his purple belt, nobody would be like, oh, he doesn't deserve purple. Because he's fucking up purple belts. His wrestling ability is so high.
I've been to one jiu-jitsu like roll. It's just like a practice. Because this guy I worked at Chris with was a brown belt. And he said, "Yo, I know you used to wrestle and everything, and like we always talk about, grappling and shit. Like I think you should like come roll with me and my boys at practice." And so I went there. I was kind of smoking the white belts. The blue belts would give me a little bit of trouble. Cause I could control them on the ground. I could get control wrestling wise, but
you could pin them basically. And
right.
keep
Once
control.
I was on top, I didn't really know what to do because they were like throwing up Americanas and Kimuras and shit, and I didn't really like
what
know
is this? Yeah,
I didn't know what to do on top. Like if I was in a fight, I would be like, okay, I'll just punch the shit out of you. But like in a grappling match, I'm like, I guess I just hold you down. Like I don't. Then at that point, I was just like defending submissions.
it just does. You don't know what to do from. That's my main issue right now. Is like I don't know where to go. I'm in a forest and I'm like surviving in the forest, but I don't know how to get out of it. If that makes sense. But go ahead.
So the guy that I grapple with, who was a brown belt, I rolled with him just because he was like, yeah, let's just fucking roll around. Fuck it. Like, I know I'm going to fuck you up, but, like, let's just do it. I got a couple takedowns on him, but obviously as soon as I get a takedown,
he's got you in a leg lock.
he's got me in
or
a fucking triangle
whatever.
or some shit like that. But the whole time, I went back home and I told my brother about it, who's a very good wrestler. Not as good as Will. I think Will would smoke Jimmy, honestly. But that's not saying much because Will is a fucking
Hoss.
Will is a stud.
Will's
is a
a
fucking
stud, for sure.
amazing wrestler. Jimmy is a great wrestler, but Will is an amazing wrestler. And I think Will would wax Jimmy because there's levels to that shit.
Yeah.
But
That's as well as jiu-jitsu.
When I was grappling with the brown belt, the whole time he was beating me, but the whole time I was thinking, I was like,
if this was a straight up wrestling match?
well, no. I was thinking, I was like, you can beat me, but I've wrestled my brother, and my brother could smoke you. Like, the brown belt was good. The black belt was good, blah, blah, blah. And I think my brother would have trouble in a jiu-jitsu match, but I guarantee, like, in a straight-up fight, my brother would have absolutely...
If it was like a street fight, like
If it was
death.
a full on fight like wrestling versus jiu-jitsu, I really think my brother would have absolutely clobbered the brown belt.
Really?
Because, and dude, Joe Rogan's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he praised jiu-jitsu all the time. But there's been a few podcasts where people ask, like, what is the main sport that, like, if you were to be a savant at one sport,
Wrestling.
what would be the
For
one
sure.
that fucking wins the fights? And even Joe Rogan was like, wrestling.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because you fucking get someone on the ground, you control them, and after that, it's your fight. I mean, look
yeah,
at Khabib,
yeah.
dude.
It's
Look
all
at Khabib.
wrestling. It really is all wrestling. It's all. I mean, and then people have argued that jiu-jitsu is just catch wrestling.
Jiu-jitsu is, I mean, I do not for a second lack respect for jiu-jitsu and what it can have in a fight, and being able to be in a position where rather than knocking someone out, you're in a point where you're breaking a limb or you're choking them out. I mean, that is literally like, if you're in a position where you're in a fight with somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, and you literally have the skill set to kill somebody. Like, you break somebody's arm, and then you're like, oh, now I'm fighting somebody with a broken arm, and now this is my fight. But I still believe that wrestling, in the grand scheme of things, is, I'm going to grab you, I'm going to throw you on the ground, I'm going to get you in a position where I have complete control of you, and I also have the ability to not let you get out of it, and I'm on top of you, and I'm going to beat the shit out of you until you can't fight anymore. And then boom. Like, I mean,
But yeah, dude, like to what you're saying is when I'm when I'm rolling with wrestling guys, it's a completely different vibe than if I'm rolling with a jiu-jitsu guy.
I assume
I
wrestling
can-
guys are more like aggressive.
Bro, I can
more takedown
immediately
oriented.
tell if you have wrestled in the past. As soon as I start hand fighting with you, I can tell if you have a wrestling background. And it's literally within seconds I can tell. It's how you hold your head. It's how you fucking attack the legs. It's how you hold your body. And
Clinch.
I hate rolling with wrestling guys. And when I say hate, I just mean it's not as comfortable for me. That doesn't mean they're doing anything wrong. That doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong. It just means that, like, I much rather enjoy rolling with jiu-jitsu guys because I feel like less or more
you're on the same plane.
we're playing chess.
Right.
With a wrestling guy, I feel like he's playing chess, but there's also fucking bombs going off around the chessboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm having to, like, hold my pieces down.
It's like playing poker with somebody who's not good at poker, because they'll go all in with any hand. You can't get a read on them.
Their style is to fuck your day up.
Yeah.
They're gonna. It's maximum pressure. It's head cranks. It's head over, like, leg over the head. It's walking shit up. That, I mean, dude. There's guys at the gym that when I'm rolling with them, I'm like, I gotta survive for the next 3 minutes. But I'll wrestle with a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I don't feel that, because in those 3 minutes, he's gonna do things. He could fucking tap
They're
me.
subtle, but he's
He
setting
could,
shit
listen,
up. Right.
He could tap me 30 fucking times in that 3 minutes. Don't get me wrong. But he's not. Because he knows what my skill level is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's setting himself up into positions that he wants to work on. And he's using me as a learning thing, but he's also teaching me at the same time. When the wrestling guys get a hold of you, you better fucking learn quick.
Yeah.
They're not allowing you to learn how to get the fuck out of that. You better get the fuck out of it, or your shit is fucked. Where the jiu-jitsu guys are like, they'll literally, I feel like I'm Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars, where Palpatine's like, yes, use that power. Like, they'll be on top of me. Let the hate flow through you. They'll be on top of me, right? And I can't fucking barely breathe because their arms under my lower back and their shoulders in my neck. And I shrimp out, which means I basically,
Pull your knees up to
bridge,
your chest,
and then pull my knees up, and I'll hear them go, yes, good. You know what I mean? They're like hyping you up. They're like,
Yeah.
that's what you're supposed to do in that position.
Yeah.
Where the wrestling guys, they're going to put the knee on your belly and fucking murder you.
Yeah, man. I've always said, when I have children, if I have a son, he is going to wrestle.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Ollie into wrestling this year. Actually,
You need to.
I'm gonna get him into
need to,
Mavericks.
because
I'm gonna get him into Mavericks.
Here's
So,
the thing. Here's the thing about that is, even if he doesn't stick with it, even if he sticks with it till he's 10, he is going to have that base and that just primal knowledge of knowing what to do in that situation where
Yeah.
like I was not a great wrestler. I placed 6th in regionals, and I wasn't even that good of a wrestler. My brother was a great wrestler. I was a good wrestler. I still know that versus 90% of the human population, I'm putting you on your ass. Like, no question. Just because technique is everything. Like,
Yeah.
I've wrestled
Knowing what you're doing.
I've wrestled dudes 50 pounds on me, and I'll fucking put them on their neck faster than you can say wrestling. Like, it's just like something you learn, just the movements, just knowing where to put your body when, knowing the balances, knowing where you're at an advantage and where you're not, and like what angles to get on somebody that puts you at an advantage. It's just like something I can't even explain. Just like with, I assume, jujitsu, where you can't explain like when like you're on your back and still you're in a positive position. It's something like that where it's like I know how to control your body better than you know how to control my body.
Correct.
Therefore, I know that like if you have 50 pounds on me, if I have double underhooks, I'm taking you down. I don't give a fuck how much you weigh. If I have double underhooks and you don't know how to grapple, I'm taking you down.
It's one step and you're down.
Yeah, and like that's it. And that's just something that like, especially as a young man growing up, that you need to teach somebody, because it gives you the confidence of being able to navigate the rest of your life. Like I remember my father telling me,
When did you start wrestling? How old were you?
my brother started wrestling when he was in 9th grade, and I was in 6th grade. And because he got into wrestling, I got into wrestling. So I started wrestling in 6th grade at clubs. And when I got to my freshman year was when I actually started like competitively wrestling, and I broke my leg. And then sophomore year I had another injury, but like I didn't really start competitively wrestling until I was like a junior in high school. But I had wrestling experience for 5 years at that point. And I became a good wrestler. I became, my best wrestling was my senior year. That's when I placed 6th at regionals, which was like one match away from making it to states, which still isn't that fucking great. It's nothing like Will, who won states 2 years in a fucking row. Like,
Yeah, that's amazing.
Will would wax my ass 6 days to fucking Sunday. There's levels to it. It's like I am good at wrestling to the point where if you put me up against 95% of the population, I'm waxing them. But if I went up against Will, he'd make me look like a fucking baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so many levels to it.
No, I really need to start taking advantage of that as well, as having Will living close and then having wrestling mats in
Is
my
he
house.
who got you into it?
Yeah, pretty much. Basically how I got into it is I was curious because of like Rogan, and I had heard it so many times, and I also was like looking for a new way to get in shape, because I was in this cycling gym, and the cycling gym closed during COVID because of all the COVID measures and shit. And I really I don't like lifting. I'm not like a big gym guy, and I have a thyroid issue, which we talked about earlier when we talked about the fats. And I have a thyroid issue, and I really should stay active as active as I can. And so I was like kind of starting to blow up a little bit, not getting like super fat, but I was like 212, like 215 on a bad day.
Right.
And I'm probably like 190 now. So you're talking like, 25 pounds on me. And I was starting to get to the point where I was like not feeling healthy, and somehow we arranged, because what I do, and we talked about this earlier, is I get people that do things, and I'm like, hey, you should wrestle this guy who does jujitsu, and we should all get together. So like my mutual friend Zach, I got together with Will, who he knew through the gym because they go to the same gym, but I've been friends with Zach forever, and Will now dates Olivia. So I'm like, hey, we should all roll at my house. You guys can show me some shit. So they come over and they invite their friend Mike, who also has a really sick jiu-jitsu gym in his garage that's kind of like this without the divider in the middle.
Was he the guy that was on the podcast not too long
No,
ago?
no, he hasn't been on the pod. But Zach was on the pod on the Ravens
The one who
one.
was wrestle
Logan. Yeah, he was on the Ravens one. That's Zach. So him and Will, Zach's more jiu-jitsu based, Will being more wrestling based, but I would say Zach's a higher level, maybe I don't even know if I can say that. He's been doing jiu-jitsu longer, but like Zach has like the leg locks and that kind of shit. But Zach and Will going head to head is like you never know who's gonna tap who. They're head to head. And Will's got more of a wrestling background and Zach's got more of a jiu-jitsu background, so it's kind of cool. So getting them together was fun for me. I was like, hey, let's get together and let's roll. I have wrestling mats that Zach brought from Florida, and he didn't have anywhere to put them, so he's like, let's put them in your house. So I got these mats upstairs. Let's roll. This is like maybe like 4.5, 5 months ago, right? Let's roll. Let's do this. So we go up there. We're rolling. A minute 30 of rolling in. I'm gassed. I'm about to throw up, Dom.
Oh yeah,
I'm legit.
that shit is exhausting.
I'm about to die. I have to go take a shower because I'm overheating. I feel like I'm about to have a stroke. I have to jump in the shower. These guys are upstairs rolling in my room, and my bitch ass has to go get in the shower. Meanwhile, William's mom, my sister, and my two sisters are downstairs hanging out, like having a girls' time while we're all fucking rolling around and getting sweaty upstairs like idiots, you know? And I'm in the shower. They're still rolling upstairs. And I remember sitting there looking at William, and I said, how much do you weigh? He's like, I'm about 210, which he's about like 180 now. Like 180, he's probably like 190 now.
By the way, he looked fucking good at 210.
Dude, 190? He's a fucking bad bitch, dude.
He's as tall. He's like my height, right? He's
yeah,
like 6
yeah,
foot.
he's like 6 foot. 190, he's a bad bitch, dude. He's fucking cut. But
210, he's a bad bitch.
yeah, no. So at 210, I'm like, damn, I'm 210, but I'm a fat piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a fat piece of shit. I am a fat piece of shit at 210 right now at my body frame, and I just right there something kind of clicked with me. I was like, I gotta do something.
Right.
So I went on keto like that next day. I went on the keto diet the next day. And I stopped eating all sugar. I just fucking shed 20 pounds in the first 2 months. Just knocked it out. And then after that, I started doing jiu-jitsu. So I've been doing jiu-jitsu. That was about 6 months ago. I'd been doing jiu-jitsu for like 4 months. So I shed like, I rolled a few times at my fatness, but then I shed a bunch of pounds, and then I went to jiu-jitsu. And then after the first few weeks, I got my endurance up. And then I've just been kind of doing it ever since. And now I'm really trying to get to 4 days a week. I'm really only making 3 so far. I haven't hit a 4-day a week, but I think if I keep my goals
3
high.
3 days a week is still super solid.
So,
yeah, man.
but I'm getting stronger. I'm getting more control in that.
I remember my brother, we were at Easter last year, super drunk, and my brother was like super drunk driving home talking about Will. He was like, dude, Will, man, Will's a fucking great guy, man. He's fucking like Olivia, they're fucking baptized Christians now. He got her in the fucking Christian faith. And I'll tell you one fucking thing, man. If I was ever in a fucking bar fight, Will's the motherfucker I want to have behind my back.
100%.
Will's the motherfucker I want.
100%.
Well, I fucking love Will, man. Will is his family, man. I fucking love Will. I hope Olivia marries Will. I want him to be my fucking cousin-in-law. I don't give a fuck, man. Because if I'm ever in a bar and I'm in a fight, I'm picking fucking Will every fucking time. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy's a great wrestler, but
Yeah.
he understands that Will is still fucking
Yeah,
putting him on
yeah,
his
no.
ass. And you know, I think it would still be a tough match, but I think Will's winning every fucking time. And, dude, I mean, especially as a brother of a girl who's got a guy as her boyfriend that's that's got that fucking
Yeah, and
kind of-
it's just all around though. Like, not even that. He's just a great fucking dude. He really is a
oh
good
my
guy.
god,
He's a great guy.
He's an amazing guy, dude.
Really
Remember
great guy.
when we filmed the fucking Frank's Red Hot fucking fake ass commercial? He was a fucking actor in that and shit. Dude, he is a fucking awesome guy.
He really
He's a
is.
fucking awesome guy, and not only that, I mean, you gotta feel safe knowing that your sister is with somebody who could smoke 99.9% of the fucking
Yeah.
human
No,
population
absolutely.
in a fight, knowing that your sister's safe wherever the fuck she
Why
goes.
is it
dude.
that? Why is it the baddest motherfuckers that walk around are like the humblest motherfuckers,
I'll tell you exactly why.
and the loudest, craziest motherfuckers are the weakest.
It's
most bullshit
it's
motherfuckers.
because those who have been in fights and know what fights can result in are always the ones that want to avoid them, because people that have been in fights, people that understand what fights can result to, when Will gets into a fight,
He knows he can murder
Will
someone.
knows that he has the capability of killing a person. It's not getting into a fight and someone breaking it up. Will knows that if he gets into a fight, it is his decision whether or not he kills that person, because he is that sound.
Efficient,
He is
yeah.
that efficient. He is that sound at fucking people up, that if Will gets into a fight, it is literally in his hands whether or not it's a life or death situation. There are so many people that have never been, they've only fought at bars, fought people that don't know how
Or
to fight.
never have fought. A large
in-
majority of the population has never gotten into a physical altercation.
Either that, or they've only been into fights with people that also don't know how to fight. So they don't understand that, like, a lot of times, if you get, like, if Will has been into fights with people that if he loses, those people could kill him, because he is literally at the upper echelon of fighting. And so many people that fight have never been in a situation where they understand, like, if you're in a combat sport like wrestling, and I've never been in a situation where I could kill somebody, or I could, in reality, if I got into a fight with some scrub on the street, I know I could if I had to kill somebody.
But the amount of control that
And that's only with a select few people. Will is somebody who, if he's in a fight with 99% of the population, he has the power to end their lives. Therefore, he's under the impression that there are other people out there that could end his life. So, you can even talk about it when, like, if a chick bumps into you at a bar, they don't usually go like, "Oh, I'm sorry." But if you ever, like, walk into a bar and you accidentally bump into a guy, you go, "Oh, my bad." Because as men, you kind of have that, like, instinct to know that, like, these are men on men, and this could go either way.
yeah.
Will is somebody who he knows that any situation he could be in could be a life or death situation, because he has the capability of making it life or death. And as a situation where he's at a level where he's also grappling with people that could make it that same situation, he's on guard, because he doesn't know, fuck, this guy, I know I'm a state champ. I don't know if this guy's a fucking national champ. I could be fucking bumping into Pat Downey. I could be bumping into fucking Bo Nickel. I could be bumping into fucking blah, 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 whoever. So, even though you know you're a fucking badass motherfucker that could fuck people
There's
up,
always somebody out
there's
there
always somebody
Badder than you. Yeah.
There's always somebody better than you. And, like, you always, once you get into that situation where you have respect for people that can fight, you have respect for everybody, because you never fucking know who could fuck you up.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a guy who fucking doesn't have what didn't go to college, but is still an amazing wrestler. Isn't a collegiate wrestler, but still has an amazing talent to be able to put you on your ass, you know. And yeah, no, there's so many levels to it. And I rolled with a guy today. He's had 10 years in it. He took off for a few years because he had kids. He just got back into it, and I mean, we were doing, like, the way that we learn in the class that I take is, like, basically you get put into different positions, and you say you have to get out of this, or you have to get this person, you have to stand up from this position, or you have to get this person to not stand up is the opposite person's role,
Right.
or blah blah blah. He was fucking me up on every drill because he's got 10 years in it. He knew exactly what to do. When we were doing guard passing, he passed my guard every 5 to 7 seconds. I didn't pass his guard once.
Right.
I got close, but I didn't pass his guard once. And it's that execution. It's time and knowledge. But listen, if I walked up to that guy on the street and we got to fighting, he would fuck my day up.
Yeah.
And we're pretty even builds. We're pretty even everything. But the fact that he knows exactly what to do in these situations, I mean, it'd be over.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying is, and the other good thing is I'm glad you're sticking with it, because I think the second you get like your first tap on somebody where you fucking really tap somebody out and you go, oh, that's going to open up another entire bridge, because a lot of it is psychological as well. I think once you get that first like tap somebody out, you're going to understand all that training that you had has built up to like, oh, now I'm not just somebody that gets tapped out. Now I'm somebody that can tap people.
Yeah.
And then you start opening up into like, oh, now I'm going to start tapping white belts. I'm going to start tapping, upper white belts. And then I'm going to start getting my blue belt. And then you get to the blue belt, sort of go through the whole same thing. And then you start tapping purple belts. And you go, oh, shit, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm tapping purple belts 1 out of every 5 rolls. Oh, now I'm tapping them 2 out of every 5. Now I'm tapping them 3 out of every 5. Now it's like 50-50. Now, oh, shit, boom. Now you got your purple belt. And then it just goes on. And it's like you really just got to stick with it.
Yeah.
And just fucking really like.
Well, that's what really fucked me up at first, because I automatically just want to master something.
Right.
I want to be as good as and I realized jiu-jitsu is not that thing.
Oh, no way.
It's not that thing. It's like trying to be nice at chess on your first day. You're not going to do it. There's so much you have to learn in order to be nice at chess. In order to be, it's chess with your body. It really is chess with your body.
It really is.
But yeah, I really like that. I really like that I got into jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna keep doing it, and I'm kind of like starting to obsess over it, which is I feel like is good.
Oh, it's perfect. It is. It's. I mean, if you're gonna obsess over anything, something like that is the perfect thing to obsess over. It has so many positive aspects in your life. I mean, like
working out being one, like
just being number one, being in physical condition, but also it's the confidence just in everyday life, just being able to walk down the street and like, being able to voice your opinion to people and not have to worry about it becoming physical because you're not afraid if this dude could beat your ass. Being able to,
it comes down to a primal thing too. Comes down to a primal security of knowing that, like, hey, if shit were to go down, I could handle this situation.
That's one thing that wrestling taught me, even though I wasn't like an amazing wrestler, is that like I've gotten my ass beat in wrestling countless times. Therefore, if I ever have to get into a situation where I get animated with somebody and I feel like it could go physical, I'm not afraid for it to go physical, because even if I lose,
you've been in that position.
I've been there. I've gotten my ass beat. Like, nobody has beaten my ass worse than my fucking brother or my dad has beaten my ass. Therefore, I'm not afraid for you to beat my ass. If I lose this fight, it's just another fucking walk on the block. If I win this fight, that's because I have all my training. And that's just like how that shit kind of goes. But there are some people that have never been into a fight, never had their ass beat, and they're afraid of that. Therefore, they won't voice their opinion. They won't stand up. They won't stand up for something that's wrong in public. If you see some guy harassing somebody, they'll kind of sit back rather than stepping up and saying, hey, that's fucked up. You don't know. This guy could be a fucking UFC fighter. He could be the fucking welterweight champion. You don't know. But if you're a fucking guy who's never been into a fight, never had his ass beat, and you don't know what that's like, you're kind of afraid to approach that. But if you're somebody who has had their ass beat,
You're
even
ready
if
to
you
live
know you
life.
might get your ass beat, you'll still step up because it's like, okay, worst case scenario, I get my ass beat. Been there. Best case scenario, I solved the situation. Therefore, I'm going to try to solve the situation. Because worst case scenario, I get my ass beat. Whatever. Wake up the next day.
I'll be all right.
Yeah.
And I feel like just getting into those conflicts just in general is something that's lost on our society. You can't touch anybody anymore. You can't hurt anybody anymore. You know, and it's like,
Whatever happened to a good old ass beating, dude?
yeah, what happened to good old 1-2, left, right. But we were talking about how I got into poker.
Before we get into this, I got to piss.
Okay,
But
do your
yes.
thing, and then we'll jump back into poker. So, how I got into gambling, how I got into Texas Hold'em, how I thought I was going to be a professional poker player.
Was that a real, like, thing you were trying to do?
Uh-huh. I mean, in theory, I was a professional poker player. I didn't work, and I played poker for a living. I made like $500 profit a week. I mean, I wasn't like making millions of dollars, but I mean, I was
Is that just all cash games or what?
all cash games.
Like live casino shit?
Correct. I was averaging around 500 a week. Playing 1-2 games. 1-2 games, low risk. You know what I mean?
Were you like profiting every day, or were you just like that was within like the losses and the wins?
That was probably averaging like playing like 3 to 4 days a week, probably 4 days a week. Like the wins with the losses.
Like how many hours were your sessions? Like how many? Like you would have like one losing session a week or what?
Here's the thing. I realized to be able to profit at the poker game, you had to be the guy that was on point late at night.
Yeah.
At
For the-
3 a.m. you
Waiting
had
for the drunk loose players.
at
and
3
shit.
a.m. you had to be ready to pounce. You know what I mean? So it all started because I was like bartending. I would get off at 2 a.m. I'd make like $250 that night, $300 that night bartending.
Right.
I'd drive 20 minutes up to the casino. I'd
Well,
sit.
what I mean is like what got you into poker? Like
Okay. So the Chris Moneymaker,
right.
like that whole Texas Hold'em tournament blew the fuck up. When I was a younger kid, when that shit blew up, there was a couple guys that were a little bit older that were having like Texas Hold'em games at their house, but nobody had money, so we were just playing with chips. It was just the concept of the game. We were learning the concept of the game. Then when I got into high school, kids were playing dummy hands, which are basically you just put up $1 and it's like blind. You're just fucking running the hand out. So at that point, you're starting to learn hands and which hands win and percentages without even realizing you're learning percentages. So then when I got like maybe like a sophomore in high school, Stevie, who was one of our podcast guys, he started having games with a guy named Mike Wilhelm that was in the neighborhood, and we just had a shit ton of games, and we would have a lot of interest. We had probably like 10 people there every time. So we'd run these $10 tournaments. And I'm talking, we're like 16 years old. 16,
It's
17
like
years old.
$10, almost like fantasy football. Like what?
Everybody throws in $10. It's
First and second.
it's
get
10-minute
paid.
blinds. You have you start with the blinds start at 10 cents, 20 cents. 10-minute blinds, it's 10 minutes, and you get $10 worth of chips, and then if you bust, you get another $10 worth of chips. You don't have to pay another 10. It's just basically $10 for $20 worth of chips. That's just how the tournament rolled.
So like a late registration. Like
No,
you
none of
pay
that.
off?
We didn't. None of that. It was $10. You get $20 in chips, and if you bust your first 10, you get another 10. But by the time it got that helped us learn. By the time it got late, when the
Like
blinds are 5,
1,
10,
2, yeah.
and you bust and you got your $10 blind, you're out in two hands anyway. You know what I mean? So that taught us some shit as well.
Right.
So it's like we learned in the natural progression of what life was, instead of just like learning it from the internet or a book, or it just was the natural progression of poker. So we learned these tournament styles. We learned how to fucking, manage, and we got serious. Like, we played every weekend. Then we started playing cash games after the tournaments. We would play like 3 or 4 tournaments a night. Then we play cash games after the tournaments when all like people like dipped out, and it was just like a couple of us. We would just play like 1, 2 cash games. Then it developed. We started meshing with another crew that we found, and we were playing a lot of 50 cents a dollar cash games. So we meshed up with this other crew. Now at this point we're like 18. This is like 3 years,
Right.
3 or 4 years later. We're still playing in the same basements. We're just bopping around, but we've now meshed with another crew who has some degenerate gamblers in it and some, cool characters that we've been cool with still, and some shady characters as well.
Right.
And we start having these games, and the next thing I know, I'm still in this world, and then the casinos open up. So then I'm going to the casinos a couple nights a week. Then I got this buddy who I've met from the other poker group, and we're going to Delaware Park. We're playing all these tournaments. I cashed this tournament for $2,000. We're just, we're vibing. We're doing really well.
How much was a buy-in for the $2,000 tournament?
Probably maybe like $75.
Damn, nice.
So we're we're really vibing. We're really doing like these tournaments. He's hitting big, and then he's going through these really heavy swings. And me being who I am, I'm like, I understand the swings. I understand being a poker player.
Yeah.
So we're just running, we're gunning, we're doing tournaments, we're doing Adderall, we're doing Coke, we're doing shit to keep us up at this point. He starts borrowing some money from me because he's losing. I loan him the money because I'm making shit ton of money at work because I'm bartender. I make $250 every night. I work 5 days a week. I'm making cake. You know what I mean? So I start loaning him some money, and the next thing I know, he loses his job. So not only is he into me for some money, he's lost his job. He also is now like fully into the poker world. Great poker player. Don't get me wrong. Can't manage his money for shit. And
most of it.
he winds up like we're doing these tournaments. We did like a 36-hour run where we did not sleep. We just did a run. We went Delaware Park, this place, that place. We were just playing live games. At one point we were in a fucking barbershop basement in Baltimore playing a fucking high stakes game. And there's crackheads.
What blinds were those?
Oh, those were like $1. Those were like 2-5, I think. It was like one of the first 2-5 games I played. They might have been 1-2, but so we're playing. We're running on these crazy runs, right? Me and him were like road dogs, and shit just got really fucked up, man. He wound up winning like $10,000 in one night, and then lost it all the same night. But at the same time he lost it all, he still owed me $2,000. So instead of paying me the 2 when he was up 10. He lost all the money. And that goes back to like the poker addiction, or to the gambling addiction, to the not being able to manage your money. But me as being a person, as a man, like, dude, you really fucked me hard as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, you owed me this bread because we were road dogs for this long. And you went up 10 G's and you couldn't even give me my 2, and you just lost all 10.
See, like, yeah, if
on
that were
roulette at that.
If that were me, I would easily just, because I can't stand owing people shit. I would.
No, that I can't. Some people can owe people money. I've ran into tons of people, and you know where I fuck up is I think everyone's like me, where when you owe people money, you just want to get it back to them as soon as you fucking get it to them. There's a lot of people out there, Dom, that are not like that, and I had to learn the hard way that they're not like that. When I owe somebody money, I feel like I'm less of a man if I don't pay you back. That's just me. That's just me. So I feel like everybody's like that. But, dude, not everybody's like that. And this guy to this day still owes me around like $2,500. I haven't seen him, and he's, whatever.
It's kind of let it go at that point.
At this point, it's just bygones be bygones. We were doing a lot of drugs. A lot of drugs involved. There was
How long ago was this? Like 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
Oh, no, this was probably, I want to say, This might have been like 7, 8 years ago. Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't spoken to the guy in years. I don't have any ill will against him. I know he's not having the best life. You know what I mean?
Right.
You look at people like that, and you know that they don't
At that
have
point, it's like
they don't have relationships
right?
with people that matter, and they're living
You win it a different way.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I have a relationship with my child every day.
Right.
I wake up every day, and I have this house, and I do these things that make me happy, and I try not to hold that resentment as hard as it was to just say, like, that's a lot of fucking money just to be
Right.
like, oh,
That's a few rent payments.
yeah, that's a huge I've had to justify it in a few ways, and like, what good does it do me to go beat somebody's ass or go fuck somebody
Or
up?
get someone to be somebody else, or,
Yeah.
or do
What
anything. To get
what
them.
good does that do me, really? In the long run, what good does that do me? In the short term, what good does that do? Being the record I have, can I afford to pull some shit like that?
Right.
No. Not in this day and age, not in this. So it's not, sometimes you got to just it's like, hey, those people are those people, and they're going to be those people, and you can't do anything about
For
it.
the rest of their lives.
And you know what? They have to live with that. I don't have to live with that. So, you know, if one day, dude, because he's a great poker player, I'm not gonna doubt him on that. He's a great poker player. One day, if he becomes the world champion, and he wants to undo his, you know, but I've also heard tons of poker pros always owe people money throughout the whole
Right.
process. It's part of being that type of person. But you know,
It just happens that they all fall in the same category.
yeah.
Right.
So that was that kind of turned me off on the poker thing. I stopped playing a lot after that because it's like it's hard playing when you realize the dark sides of it. Where you're like, I'm doing cocaine, I'm doing fucking Adderall, I'm doing anything that I can to keep me up at 3 a.m. and be fucking tip top on my shit, so I can take advantage of the guy
That
falling
comes
asleep
in after
across
the
the street.
bars and
Yep.
and plays because he's fucking drunk, and he's
Uh-huh.
like, I'll play some Texas Hold'em, and then he's just fucking going all in with fucking Jack 7 and shit. No, yeah.
And I've waited 3.5 to 7 hours for that, for him to walk in.
Yeah, the thing is, I've never played live. And I do plan to play live on this cruise that I hope you go on. It's so fun. I've always played online, and I've always played. I got into poker because my papu, they like to go to Foxwoods and gamble and shit, and they like to play cards. They never did it. For
I
me.
remember every New Year's Day there would be a card game going down in your
Yeah,
basement.
there would be a card game.
All the adults would sit there and play
Yeah.
Dealer's Choice or something,
they
and
would
they would
play
just,
dealer's choice. They would play quarter games.
and everyone brought their change.
Straight coins. straight
Everyone
coins.
brought their change.
They didn't use chips. They used quarters.
They used quarters and change, bro, and it was badass, dude.
It was badass, man. That was just. They would just sit down on my basement dining room table, and they would play fucking poker. They would play fucking 5-card stud, 7-card draw, fucking Texas Hold'em, pot limit Omaha, all that kind of shit.
We need to bring that back. We need to start doing that New Year's Eve.
I'll tell you what.
Everyone bringing their
I
change
think
jar.
you and I would have to be the ones that bring that back because we would have to, because I have a full poker set that my brother's friend, he's my friend as well. This is a legit like casino set with like the chips are heavy. They're not. There's like little plastic chip, like they're like casino chips. And he gave it to me. He was like, "I know you're into poker. Like I'm just gonna give this to you because I'm moving out. I don't have, I'm about to have a kid. Like, take it." I was like, oh, fuck yeah. So I have this whole casino set, and I think that is something that we could totally bring back. Just obviously we need to not be sharks at the table. We just need to fucking play
Or
fun.
even just have everyone bring their change jar. We'll just do it that style.
I
dude.
mean, honestly, we might just have to start it with chips, dude. We might just have to fucking divvy out chips almost like tournament style and just
yeah.
Just fucking play the game. Guys. You
Everybody
got
put out
chips.
20
No,
bucks,
You
like-
don't gotta put out not even no money at all. Even just to get people in the game. Like
Yeah.
you're not sacrificing anything. Everyone starts with the same amount of chips. Just fucking play poker, And then, later on in the years, when we'd be like, all right, let's everybody put up $5, put up 10, put up 20, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I got into poker because my papu introduced me to 5-card stud, 5-card draw. And I got into that, and then, I started fucking getting into poker randomly because I saw it on YouTube and shit, and I got, like, an affinity for it. And then I got, like, a feeling for, like, I feel like I could win at this. And then I started studying, Phil Hellmuth, Phil Ivey, Daniel Negreanu, who's one of my favorite players. I started getting into poker vloggers like Brad Owen and Ryan DePaulo.
You see the clip where Negreanu just recently hit quad threes over the guy with aces, with ace full house? It's a pretty recent clip, but I'll have to send it to you. But it's amazing.
I heard about it.
He's definitely my favorite player of all time.
I heard about it, but then he's one of my favorites as well. But Ryan DePaulo was a guy that I really identified with because, in Maryland you can't really play online. So I would, I downloaded PokerStars PA. So you could play online in PA, and I would drive up to some Walmart parking lot right over the border on PA off exit 4 on 83. And I played in a tournament.
Wow, you would drive.
I would drive
to play online.
On
I would
my
drive
phone.
up to private clubs. This is when it first started, right? When I was 18. I was playing in private clubs. I was playing tournaments. So you had to drive over the PA line, and there was these private clubs that you could play in. And they were like poker rooms, legit poker rooms, but you didn't have to be 21. It was right when I was 18. The laws just started shifting right when I was 18. And I would play in these private clubs for a couple years. But go ahead. Sorry.
So I would just drive up and play legally online. And I lost the first couple times. I went up with I was just starting out. I've never been a guy that just went up with 500 and was like, I'm gonna win 1K off this 500. I would go up with a very minimal, and I went up with like $30, lost $30 because I would enter in fucking like $10 buy-ins, fucking 5-10 blinds, 5-cent, 10-cent blinds, and then I went out one day and I bought into a $10 tournament, and I wound up. It was a 6-hour tournament. And I fucking placed third. I got $370, and I was like, I literally felt like I was fucking on course to be on the fucking World Series of Poker. I was like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Get out of here. Because at the same time, this dude, Ryan DePaulo, who I watch a lot, he's from New York. He was from New Jersey. Or no, he was from New York. He went to New Jersey in a parking lot and played on his laptop off of the hotspot off of some fucking Whole Foods, and won a World Series of Poker bracelet on an online tournament. And he won it in the car. There's we could pull the video up after this, but he fucking won it in the parking lot. He won like $170K. And I was like, holy shit, dude, that's fucking so sick. Like, you can just fucking do anything. Like, you can just fucking drive into a parking lot and win a bracelet. I was like, that's what I'm trying to do. And I did that. I won that. And then I went up a couple more times, lost, blah, blah, blah. And then I found out Bet Online. And then I was like, oh, shit, you could play in Maryland illegally, quote, unquote. And I started playing more tournaments doing that, and like I noticed that like the more and more I was like a really good tournament player. I'm a good cash player, but like I was a really good tournament player. Just doing more and more, learning more and more about like when's a good time to fold. When like if you get ace 5 offsuit, middle position, like any middle, like anyone who's starting off, they see an ace in their hand, they're like, oh, I'm 3-betting, blah, I'm calling anything. I started to learn like when's a good time to call,
shit.
when's to fucking fold, when blah blah blah. And
Position's everything in poker.
Yeah, 100%. And then I started like really getting into it, and then you gave me that poker book, and I read more of it, and I was learning about like what hands to call with, what not to, when you get into a certain position with a certain hand that you 3-bet with, blah blah blah. And then I started getting actually like...
I could tell when I gave you that poker book, you had just You had the bug for probably like a year. You really had the bug because you had the confidence that you were a bad motherfucker, but I could tell that you had just been in it for like, I could tell as somebody that'd been in it for 4 or 5 years that you had just been in it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, but you also had the confidence of somebody that was ready to take over the fucking world.
Well, I've always had the understanding that like that shit is not like it's not something you jump like just like with anything, just like jiu-jitsu or wrestling, like it's not something you jumped into because you sit at a poker table, you don't know who you're fucking sitting with.
Yeah.
You could be sitting with a dude that won a World Series of Poker bracelet back in 1990 and has just decided that he's going to just make a living off of 1-2. Like, you never know who you're with. And I just, like, have taken, like, gambling to me has always been more of, like, an investment, where to a lot of people that I know that gamble has always been like, oh, I have $200. I'm going to bet $200 on this game and win $200. When I've always been like, oh, I have $200. I'm going to bet $5. And if this loses, I'm going to bet a different amount of money. And then boom, 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 and sort of like stretch it out to where I can overall, like through bankroll management, come out on top.
That's a huge part of it. And that's what I like what Daniel Granu covered in that book a lot.
Right,
Bankroll management was a huge part of that book. Huge chapter in that book was how to manage your bankroll. And just in the very basics, if you have $2,000, you're not going to do a tournament that's $1,000. You're not. You're not. You're just not. It's not.
Dude, most World Series of Poker's players cash in like 1 out of every 10 tournaments they buy in.
Yeah.
Those are guys that are at the fucking final table every year. And you think you're some fucking rando that's coming into poker and you're going to fucking just cash every fucking tournament you play in. It's just crazy.
It's a combination of luck and skill. And if you don't have, you can have all the skill you want, but if you don't get the cards that day, you're fucked.
You go on a run where you're just card dead all night. Next thing you know, you're at fucking 10 big blinds. You're still 15 away from the money. You're at 10 big blinds, and you're like, okay, well, I guess the next ace I get, I got to go all in. And then some dudes are just fucking, I got fucking 40 big blinds. I'll call with queen 5.
Yeah.
I'll hit a queen. Let's hit trip 5.
Let's see what
blah,
happens.
blah, yeah.
I'm getting tired.
And I used to play like that. And when I was playing on the free money apps, when I was just playing like the fake poker apps, like World Series of Poker play apps, I was like, oh, I'm good, blah, blah, blah. And I was realizing that there's motherfuckers on this app that are like grandmasters, and I'm like a fucking loser. I was like, oh shit, like this really, even if you're not playing real money, like this really. And then I started playing the fake money, like PokerStars had a play money shit where you could like play with dudes that are not as good, obviously at the same level as me because they didn't have the money to play real money. And I was like cashing in every tournament. And then that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to go up to money. And I would just go $5 tournaments, $10 tournaments, and then literally, like, the most I've bought in for a tournament recently was $55, and I won 500 profit. I won 560, but minus the
Sometime
55.
you got to jump up, I think. I think you got to jump into those $200 tournaments, those 160s, those $350 tournaments, because it is a different vibe, but I think you need to. I think you need to get
No,
it.
I know that. I know for sure because I played 1-2 a couple times online. I've won, I've lost. Pretty much broke even, but definitely on this cruise, like, I know the cruise ship games are going to be soft as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be a bunch of old-ass motherfuckers
Bro,
where
and if
you
we
know
both
their
sit
hands.
at the same table, we could work some shit.
Dude.
Not cheat. We're not going to cheat, but we could work some shit.
We're going to chip signal. We're going to do all that. We're going to do some rounder. Edward Norton, Matt Damon shit. We're going to do some fucking...
Going to click the table twice. Get out the hand.
Yeah.
No,
I
but
got kings. Get out.
No, they're going to be soft. They're going to be soft. There's going to be a couple guys like us that know how to play and are going to be hard asses, but you're going to... Dude, the last 1-2 game I played, I cashed out like $850. $750, $800. when I went to it was like last year when I went to the food show that was at a casino, and both my chefs, my chef and my kitchen manager went to sleep, and I went down to the poker room, and I sat there for like 3 hours and just rolled on people. And it's always, you know what happens? The first few hours where guys that have been at the table for a few hours are feeling you out. You can take advantage of that. And then once they realize you're a player, shit slows down.
I remember you.
They give you so much respect, and then you can't hit a
I
hand.
remember you giving me that advice where you were like, dude, as a young guy, they always think you're bluffing. So if you have, like, you know, if you got fucking trips on the turn, bet big.
Yeah.
Because if they're on a draw, they're going to call.
No, for sure.
And
Yeah,
then,
yeah. Because you have to play your image. You have to play your image as much as you have to play your cards. And being a young guy at a table with a gold watch on and just like with a cocky attitude, you got to play that image.
but then also, what I've
Playing the
always
part
heard
is a huge, big
is
part.
old people never bluff. They always have it. So
Yeah.
it's like if an old dude check raises you, or if he fucking 3-bets you, he has it. He's got to chill out because old
Yeah.
people tend not to bluff.
Yeah, the old timers. You know who they are too. And they'll be sitting there for 15 hands and you haven't seen them fucking play. And then they happen to be in the hand with you. Next thing you know, they're making a move and you're like, fuck. I got to get out of this.
Right.
I got to get out of this wheel.
2 pairs not good.
This wheel draw is not working out for me. You
This
know what I mean?
flush draw, I can't call a fucking 45% raise on a fucking flush draw right now. This dude has trips.
Yeah, no, we need to hit a poker game soon. Stevie's a good player. Stevie's a real good player. Stevie's a really good player. Glenn can play. Zach can play. Zach's not like Zach lacks the patience. Zach he'll play. If he's winning, it's cool. But Zach knows how to play. But after a while, he'll just like, fuck it vibe.
I think if we could set this cruise up and get Bree and Kayla to be good friends, I feel like we could have a fucking poker night here every Friday because they could just fucking go in and chill and have girls' night, and we could just fucking rail out and just have a $51
Yeah.
fucking poker game every night and just fucking have a pod even if we want to, just fucking chill out, hang out, just fucking play poker. That would be chill as fuck.
Imagine a poker game. I think it would be cool to have a poker game with the camera on the table. Like, even if you played 5-handed. If it was like me, you, Stevie, Glenn, and Zach, and we got Kuhn in there, and we just sat 6-handed at the table with the camera facing all of us, and we just talk shit while we played poker, I think that'd be a cool cast.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think that would get a whole nother demographic. That would get the poker demographic, too. We could stream it on fucking TikTok, or we could fucking, even if one person had that, because there's so many, now that, like, TikTok is picked up on that I like poker, if I scroll through TikTok Live, like, 1 out of every 10 lives is somebody who's playing poker that literally just shows their hands and, like, just watches them play a cash game. And then, like, if they don't have a hand and they fold out, they'll maybe go to the guy on the button, or they'll go to the guy next to him and see what he has and see how he's playing the hand. And then everyone's like, "Oh, you got King Jack. You gotta fucking call that flop."
So hold on. So how does he sees the pocket hands of the guy next to him?
So it's obviously a very lackadaisical thing, but it's like a home game. I saw one where it was literally it's like a dude in like a fucking Italian dude's basement. And they hired a dealer.
Are you inhaling the cig or the cigar?
I mean, it's like almost dead.
I watch you deep inhale that
I'm
cigar.
barely getting it. Whatever. And they got like an Asian chick dealer and everything. They got a shuffle machine and shit. Dude, I was in Walmart the other day with my girl looking for fucking board games to play. I saw a fucking shuffle machine.
I thought you were going to say that Asian chicks for sale.
I was like, they got a shuffle machine at Walmart?
Like a legit one or like a little fucking bullshit
It
ass?
was probably some bullshit. It was probably some shit where, like, after 5 hands, you could predict what the fuck was being shuffled.
I had one of those where you put two halves in it, and you press the button and it shoots the cards together. You ever seen those? No, I had one of those for a while.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, man. So you said that when they're watching, like on TikTok, you can live
Yeah,
view
so
these
they go on
hands?
live. A couple of these guys that I follow on TikTok called Next Gen Poker. They're like younger than me. They're college kids that started a poker channel while they were in college because they went to college in Texas. So they would play Texas Hold'em and at like the Texas Card House and whatever. And so now they're run lives where it's literally just the camera is on the kid's view of his cards, and he'll show his cards, and he'll fold, and he'll show the whole fucking table. What's he doing? What's he doing? Boom, boom. He'll only show his cards, but then I've also seen some of them where it's like some guy at a house game showing his cards. If he's got a bad hand and someone else is, it's like a 3-bet pot, 3 people are in the pot, he'll be like, all right, what do you got? And he'll just point it on the camera. The guy will show his cards, not make a face. He'll show the cards, and then now you're in on his hand. Now it's like, oh, I'm in on this guy's hand. Now that chat has something to talk about.
Yeah.
Even if it's some bullshit hand, they'll be like, okay, how do you play king queen offsuit here?
You bluffing? Or
You
rocking,
bluffing,
or
you
what are
calling
doing?
an ace high flop. Like, what are you doing? And so it's like something where like you could have the camera on one guy, and if one guy is completely out of the hand, he could go, all right, Nick, what do you got? Show me your hand. And then you just lift it up. Don't make a face. Don't do anything. Boom, lift it up. And then it's like, okay, now the whole chat knows, oh, he's got fucking, Jack 10 offsuit. What's he going to do here? Jack high flop. This guy could have pocket fours, boom, and then the whole chat's being like, you got to raise 3.5, blah, blah, blah. And then the whole chat's like into this guy's hand. It's literally like, it's a way for the chat to play poker without playing poker. It's literally just like, oh, if I have a good hand, you're with me. If I don't have a good hand and I fold pre-flop, I'll go to a random guy on the table. We could even set it to a way that it's not suspicious. To where, like, if the guy with the camera folds, we go to the seat to the left of us. And the next time we fold, we go to the seat 2 seats from us. And go all the way around. And then be like, So the camera could always be on the guy if he has a hand, which I guess would be kind of a giveaway for him to, like, not flash the camera around. We could even play around with that. But, like, just to be able to go live on a poker table.
Yeah, I think that would be some good content, honestly. I think that would be a whole new, like you said, new demographic. We just did a poker night with just the camera. It's wide enough view where it could get the whole fucking span. We wouldn't even need, like, to see anybody's hole cards or anything. We're just they
just
could
one
see
guy.
afterwards.
It could be one guy. It could be like, I have no hand. I'm gonna run over to Glenn. What does Glenn have?
We don't even need to do all that. We literally could just do us having a conversation while playing poker, because you're either going to show or you're not going to show at the end of the hand.
Yeah, and I feel like if we were to do that, we would have to, like, make it interesting. I feel like it should be like a mandatory show.
Yeah,
if you bluff, you have to show or something like that. Just because, like,
well,
we wouldn't even have to
yeah.
play with real money. We could just play with chips and just lie to the people and be like, oh, we're playing 1-2.
Yeah.
And just be like, mandatory show, mandatory. Like, if you bluff, you have to show. If you fold and you're on the camera, you have to show some shit like that. I feel like we could totally set that up. Like, next pod, just be like 5 cameras around, have the same bullshit, same podcast, and just be playing poker. Because people could tune into, like, oh, this is a podcast, I'll listen to this. And then poker players could also be like, oh, they're playing poker. Let's see who's playing what. They could guess what hand. Oh, I bet he has fucking ace king. I bet he has ace king. The way he's fucking betting, the way he's c-betting, blah, blah, blah. I bet he has ace king.
Damn, that would be some next level shit if we could have, like, our names, like Dom, ace king, Nick, this, Coon, this.
Yeah, that would
Zach,
be
this,
that would have to be
boom,
some
boom.
high budget shit for
Yeah.
sure. We'd have to get whole card cameras and shit. That would be crazy, but I think we could start off just being like, oh, there's a camera on the table. I feel like it would be better almost than a camera on the table to have a camera on one guy. and then to him to go around, because it wouldn't, at that point with the camera on the table, would just pretty much be like watching the World Series of Poker blind, where you like just don't have any idea what the guy has. Like, you have no investment until the fucking
Till the whole card show.
Showdown.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But dude, I think there would be ways to do that. There'd definitely be some ways to do that. That'd be a cool vibe. That'd be a really cool vibe.
Yeah, I mean, if we get a couple cameras, like a dealer's camera, and then like we could even just like rotate the camera every hand. You know what I mean? Like 2 cameras, just be like one camera be the dealer's camera, and then another camera just rotate every seat.
Yeah.
So like every hand is like, now you're playing with this person's hand, and if that person folds, just like go to the next person that's in the action. That way it doesn't make it seem weird.
I've been itching to play some poker lately too.
Dude, you gotta play on this fucking. Have you played online yet?
Not at all. On Bet Online, is it legit?
Oh, dude, it's 100% legit. 100%.
Play on your phone, or you just play on like the
My phone, my computer, everything,
tournaments all the time?
all the time. There's a tournament going on right now, I guarantee it.
I could hop into something
Dude,
tonight.
fucking do a fucking dollar tournament. Just feel it out. $1 tournament, $5 tournament, $10 tournament, what the fuck ever. They got shit going on all night.
I'm with it.
There's a nightly dollar pot limit Omaha tournament. 1:30 a.m. it starts
every night.
every night.
Yeah, this might be a fucked up fucking thing you're introducing me to.
No, dude.
Back
I mean,
on
you
the
don't have to
vibe.
go crazy on it, but I mean, like, you know, the betting shit.
Betting's not fun.
Oh, dude, betting is so fun to me.
It's fun, but it's like it makes the sporting events a lot more fun. But it's like dude, betting is so hard to be good at.
Well, that's the thing is, the thing about gambling.
If you're at 66%, you're doing God's work.
Dude, the best sports handicappers in the world, I think the best guy overall ever that they've ever recorded had a 56% win rate. Which, if you're playing at the right stakes, let's say you're betting fucking 100,000 a fucking game, you know, you're winning 600,000 a year. But the thing about betting on sports to me is I've never played it in a way where if I lost money, I was in a financial
Same.
situation.
Same.
I've always
I don't bet what I don't have.
I've always bet enough money to where I was like, oh, I won this money, then I guess it paid for a few drinks. If I lost this amount of money, I'll just act like I bought people drinks that I didn't know, and whatever. Some people just go and say, I got, you know.
But that kind of betting makes you realize that you can do that other kind of betting.
Yeah. Well, when you win $30, you go, shit, if I'd have bet 300, I'd have won 300. But then also you lose $30 and you go, shit, if I'd have bet 300, I'd have lost 300. And those are the kind of people that like don't get it, dude. Like I've had this, like I said, my brother had this whole fucking system he's working out. I've had this system that I've been working out that like I'll bet like baccarat or blackjack, and I'll do betting strategies where like, you know, not martingale where like, oh, I lose $1, now I bet 2. I lose $2, I bet 4, blah blah blah. Because then after 6 bets, you lost your whole bankroll. Like I'll do shit where like I bet 1% of my bankroll. If I lose that, I'll bet 1.1% of my bankroll, and then like slowly after, even if you go like 30 losses and 25 wins, you're still up, rather than being like, oh, I'm going to go double my bet every time, and then if I lose 7 in a row, I'm out. And if you win like 3% of your bankroll every day, let's say you start with 100. If you were to win 3% of your bankroll every day, you're up to like 4 million. That's if you did that. And it's hard to win. I mean, it's easy to win 3% of your bankroll 29 out of 30 times, but there's going to be that 1 out of 30 times where like you just go on a fucking shit losing streak and you're fucked. But I feel like there is a way, if you implement bankroll management and like proper betting strategy, you can wind up on top and just compound your winnings and like actually do well. But
I
then
think bankroll management is such a big part of any gambler's game. And if you don't have bankroll management, you shouldn't be a gambler.
well, dude, when you think about the stock market and you think about the guys that are in hedge funds and shit, and you look at the way they do shit, and you can have all the graphs and all the fucking analytics you want. At the end of the day, it is no different than betting on red or black. It's no different. You're betting on whether a stock's going to go up or whether a stock's going down. And like in the Wolf of Wall Street, where he said, I don't care who you are. Nobody knows. I don't care if you're Warren Buffett or Jimmy Buffett. Nobody knows if the stock's going to go up, down, sideways, or in fucking circles. It's a fucking fugazi. Only thing that matters is keeping the money in your clients. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, you don't know if you're going to fucking hit a blackjack or if you're going to fucking hit a 12 and the dealer's showing a 10 and then he's showing a 20 and then, oh, okay, I lose. You never know. You never know when the roulette wheel spins. You never know it's going to land on red or black. You never know if you have aces whether or not that dude's going to hit fucking trip queens. You never know. It's always a gamble, but it's playing the percentages because if you play,
Dude, the guy, not to cut you off, the guy that lost all that money that I was telling you about, and 2,000 of the 10,000 was mine that he lost.
yeah,
He lost 10 roulette spins in a row, red and black, for $1,000.
he's betting 1,000 each spin.
Correct. He lost 10 in a row and lost his whole bankroll in that he had run up for the prior
And he
32
was just
hours,
gonna flat bet the whole
the
way.
34 hours that he had run up. He lost it in 30 minutes. He ran up from $300 to 10 grand and lost it in 30 minutes.
That's the thing is, if that were me and I went 310 grand, I'd have pocketed 8 grand and been like, all right,
If I lose this too, who gives a fuck?
if I lose this 2, I'm still up 8 grand.
No, you'd have probably paid your boy the 2 grand back,
Yeah.
then pocketed the 6.
I would have said, okay, I have 10 grand. I'm going to pay my boy my 2 grand back. I'm good there. Now I have 8 grand. I'm going to pocket 6.
Then
now
do
I'm
what
going to go to the casino and fuck around with 2 grand, see what happens.
what
If I
happens.
lose 2 grand, I'm
I'm
still
going
up
home.
6.
And I'm going home.
Some people just don't have that, man. Some people just do
And
not
that's
have
that's what stops some great poker players from being the greatest poker
Yeah.
player. Unfortunately.
that. Mike Mattisau's like fucking broke now.
Is he?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
He's a great player.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people just don't get that. I mean, like,
What's he doing now? Is he still playing? But he's just like,
he's like riding around on a fucking cart now. Thank God Coon's not here. Fucking yell at me.
oh, Mike Mattisau's a big fatty now?
I don't know. He might be disabled. I don't fucking know.
Damn.
But, you know,
Completely broke.
he's completely broke, and they just don't know how to manage their bankroll, and they just play with money that, you know, oh, I won the World Series of Poker 5 years ago. I could fucking run this up in this fucking bullshit high roller tournament, blah, blah, blah. And they fucking buy in for 15 grand 10 times and lose every time. Now they're down 150 grand. They're like, oh, shit. All right, well, that was 1/3 of my fucking bankroll this year. Okay, I'll buy into a 50 grand tournament, lose that. All right, well, I guess I got to buy into a 100 grand tournament. Boom, lose that. Now they're fucking minus 400.
For the year. You know, it's a slippery slope. That's what kind of why I got out of it, because it's just like you have to be on top of your shit at all points, every single second.
Well, dude, you can get back into it. You just gotta fucking play low stakes, dude. Low stakes is
No, yeah, I mean, I
soft.
love poker. I'll play poker any day of the week. I like playing with people that I fuck with.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not trying to go take your fucking house from you. I
Yeah.
want to play because I love the game of poker. And if we each lose $100 that night, so fucking be it. But we're all grown adults. Nobody's kids are going hungry because we're fucking playing
Right.
a poker game.
Dude, my dad, I can't even, like, I get so excited when I win, like, a big win on a poker tournament. I'll, like, tell my dad. He's like, I just never got down with that gambling shit, you know, because I always thought that, like, you know, if I'm winning money, you know, I'm winning somebody's money that fucking lost money and he's trying to feed his kids and he's gambling. I'm like, Dad.
That's not the same.
I'm like,
Poker's not
Dad,
that vibe.
I'm like, Dad, even if that's the case, that motherfucker shouldn't be betting. He was going to lose that money anyway.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been putting
Like,
that money
that
up.
motherfucker ain't supposed to be. My mom's father was that kind of guy. He would get his paycheck, go fucking gamble it over the weekend. She wouldn't even see him till fucking Monday morning. He fucking gambled the whole paycheck away. I guarantee that motherfucker was placing some snake eyes bet on craps or some bullshit. Trying to win 30-1, 30 times in a row, lost all 30. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, well, my paycheck's gone. It's like, that's not how you're supposed to fucking gamble.
Yeah. Some people just can't fucking vibe, bro.
All right, I gotta get back to home. I gotta get to fucking work in the morning.
Clout Cousins, episode 1. We talked about it all. Gambling. Other stuff that I can't remember. Clout Cousins episode
Gambling
1.
podcast.
Poker podcast. I'll make you a grilled cheese before you get on the road.
Oh shit, okay.
I gotta get some dinners today.